harus berubah dengan cepat, jadi ada disrupsi di situ. Itulah yang menyebabkan saya juga tertarik untuk menyelidiki apa dampak pandemi terhadap gender dan education.
There were for sure many countries that because they were more progressed, they coped a bit better in this new situation. There are countries that had a lot of difficulties and still have, but the main is that even in the progressed country, the world was not prepared about this situation. Difficult to be handled.
Oke. Bahkan di negara-negara maju mereka bisa dengan cepat mengatasi masalah pandemi, tetapi masih tetap ada masalah.
What I argue is that what pandemic did was not just disrupting the education system, making more issues and putting the world in crisis economically and all of other issues. And the pandemic itself did made or the impact of it was worse and very effective, not in a good way, on the gender issues too.
Jadi pandemi ini membuat masalah-masalah gender menjadi lebih buruk. Jadi dia tidak hanya mengganggu sistem pendidikan dan pendidikan itu sendiri, tetapi juga terkait dengan isu-isu gender yang menjadi lebih sulit untuk diatasi.
Lot of studies, very easy, every student, every researcher can find this. Studies show that the pandemic did exacerbate what the existing inequalities were already before the pandemics in place.
Jadi banyak penelitian sudah dilakukan dan menunjukkan bahwa pandemi memperburuk situasi pendidikan dan juga gender.
So this means that for sure the inequalities and the issues related to gender were there even before the pandemic, and the pandemic with its effect did make them worse, and somehow researchers are considering as a regress of the progress that we might have accomplished till now.
Jadi sebelum pandemi sudah ada masalah dengan kesetaraan gender, akan tetapi dengan adanya pandemi, kemajuan yang sudah diperoleh sebelumnya itu menjadi turun dan keadaan menjadi lebih buruk.
The studies also show that among the groups that were hit harder by the pandemic, women are for sure one of them.
Jadi yang dirugikan jauh lebih banyak oleh pandemi adalah perempuan.
And that is easy to understand, because if you remember, the sectors that were directly hit by pandemic are mostly the ones that were dominated by women.
Jadi itu kita dapat mengerti karena sektor-sektor di dalam kehidupan sosial yang dirugikan oleh pandemi biasanya adalah sektor-sektor di mana banyak perempuan di dalamnya.
Especially the education sector, especially the healthcare, you see mainly women there. So those were the two main hit by the pandemic, and for sure they hit also their employers, which mostly are women.
Jadi sektor pendidikan lalu sektor kesehatan di mana banyak perempuan di dalamnya adalah yang pertama hit atau diserang tanda kutip ya di dalam keadaan oleh pandemi.
We should also remind that even before the pandemics, women are the ones that suffer low wage compared to mostly men. They work in jobs that don't have the same security, even social protection. Mostly they work part-time, and this situation becomes even more difficult in low-income countries and countries that are in development nowadays.
Oke. Jadi masalah-masalah seperti gaji yang jauh lebih kecil daripada gaji laki-laki, lalu tidak adanya mungkin asuransi, lalu pekerjaan yang bukan pekerjaan full time tapi part time, itu juga menjadi jauh lebih buruk setelah adanya pandemi.
One of the biggest international association, Oxfam, that it is Oxford Community for Family, did conduct a lot of research, especially related to this issue. And I did put some information about one of their reports, which make clearly the panorama of how women have been hit by this wave of pandemic for sure, and how their situation worsened.
Jadi jika kita membaca survei ataupun laporan yang diterbitkan oleh Oxfam, kita bisa melihat bagaimana perempuan dengan keadaannya memburuk oleh karena pandemi.
Those are official data that show that a lot of women were pushed in extreme poverty. They were overloaded by work inside home. A lot of them lost their job for sure, and other issues that followed by these elements.
Ya, jadi dari penelitian tersebut, dari laporan tersebut, kita melihat data resmi ya bagaimana pandemi merusak atau memperburuk keadaan perempuan.
What I find interesting when researching about the effects of pandemic on gender education, it seems that it's very easy to see the impact of the pandemic even on other issues, but especially on women when it is related to economic issues, to violence issues, to employment issues. But it's not that easy to see also the inequalities that have come through the education system hit by the pandemic.
Jadi kita dengan mudah melihat bagaimana perempuan terdampak oleh pandemi. Jadi ada banyak akibatnya di bidang ekonomi, di bidang employment atau pekerjaan. Itu bisa kita lihat, akan tetapi juga kita bisa mengamati dampak dari pandemi di dalam sektor pendidikan.
It is estimated, especially by UNICEF, that we should go and research, and there is a need for researchers, social researchers, to deeply go, especially to see how the effect of the pandemics on education and gender in the other side did affect their position.
Jadi kita perlu berdasarkan dari laporan UNICEF, kita perlu juga melihat ada kebutuhan untuk riset lebih lanjut atau penelitian lebih lanjut mengenai efek dari pandemi dan terhadap education dan juga terhadap pendidikan maksud saya, dan juga terhadap isu-isu gender.
We should remind that, okay, the education system was the first to disrupt, and each of us know a lot of restriction put on them. But who was working in the education system? Women. Who got to do that work from home? Women. And who is taking care mostly about duties inside the home? Women.
Jadi kita perlu ingat ketika pandemi terjadi, yang paling terdampak adalah perempuan, karena mereka lah yang ada di rumah untuk mengawal pendidikan dari anak-anak dan mengerjakan pekerjaan di rumah. Jadi memang pandemi sangat berdampak terhadap perempuan.
So research are showing that women are all over the world are feeling overwhelmed, stressed, and not being able to focus on their progress by this overload of duties on them.
Jadi perempuan jadi terlalu banyak sekali beban ditempatkan yang harus ditanggung oleh perempuan oleh karena pandemi, mengingat keadaan yang tadi, mengajar dari rumah, menjaga anak-anak dan seterusnya.
And we should remind a lot of women are living on low income situation, might be living under violence inside their families. So imagine how hard it is for those.
Jadi kita juga harus ingat bahwa perempuan-perempuan ini biasanya dari keluarga dengan pendapatan atau penghasilan rendah, dan juga mereka mengalami kekerasan dalam rumah tangga. Dan diperburuk lagi oleh pandemi.
Yes, and on the other side, even if we focus our intention to study gender issues related to economical issues, we understand that economical issues are facing families with a lot of problems, and it is estimated that the first cut will be for education, the first cut of families' possibilities to for their daily life. The money will cut firstly for education, because they will have to face other issues inside it. So a lot of women might, girls and women, might be facing pursuing higher education or progressing in their field.
Jadi perempuan juga mendapat halangan oleh karena pandemi, karena begitu banyak isu di dalam masalah ekonomi, dan tentunya itu juga menimbulkan masalah-masalah di dalam keluarga. Jadi untuk mendapat higher education atau pendidikan yang jauh lebih tinggi, perempuanlah yang pertama mendapatkan dampaknya dengan mereka di-cut untuk tidak sekolah karena masalah ekonomi.
I did intentionally put it this way, this information, to stress out the importance that gender and education researchers need to address a lot of issues in this area.
Jadi ada banyak masalah yang harus dicarikan jalan keluarnya terkait dengan masalah gender dan pendidikan.
Before I did mention the famous 17 Sustainable Development Goals.
Sebelumnya saya menyebutkan ada 17 SDG, ya, Sustainable Development Goals.
Okay, and for sure the pandemic did affect them all, but the one that we are interested, especially the gender equality, the social development goal number 5, was one that was hit most.
Jadi memang ke-17 SDG ini terdampak oleh pandemi, tetapi yang paling terkena dampaknya adalah SDG 05 nomor 5.1.
It is estimated that because of the pandemic, all the progress that might have been made on the legal frameworks because of the issues of pandemic have somehow did stop. If they did not regress, they did stop.
Bahkan pandemi menyebabkan kemajuan-kemajuan yang telah diperoleh selama ini berhenti yang terkait dengan ke-17 SDG.
So the situation became worse related to violence against women, on the harmful practices, on the unpaid care and domestic work, and for sure on sexual and reproductive health and reproductive rights. So all the Sustainable Development Goal itself, it has a lot of under Sustainable Development Goals, and each of them, because of pandemic, was affected.
Jadi situasi menjadi lebih buruk, kekerasan terhadap perempuan dan berbagai masalah yang lainnya menjadi jauh lebih buruk karena pandemi. Itu bisa kita lihat di dalam PPT-nya.
And for sure, my country, as part of the world, did not escape the effect of not just the pandemic, but all the issues that were going on globally and locally in my country.
Jadi Albania juga terkena dampak dari pandemi. Isu-isu yang melanda dunia juga ada di Albania.
My country is known for being a country with relatively young population, and despite the high rates of migration that are going on, and they are very concerning, we still considered second after Kosovo as the country in Europe with the most young population.
Albania adalah negara kedua sesudah Kosovo yang negara ini banyak sekali penduduk yang masih muda, meskipun ada imigrasi dan seterusnya, masih nomor 2 di Eropa sesudah Kosovo.
And when you have all these young people, for sure, education especially, it is very important for the country.
Karena negara ini banyak sekali penduduknya yang masih muda, tentu saja pendidikan menjadi isu yang sangat penting.
During the development of Albania, I can see two parts of interests on education. There was the communist time. We are a country that comes from a communist regime, and there is the post-communist phase that is going with a different approach to education.
Jadi ada dua approach ya, atau pendekatan terhadap pendidikan. Karena Albania dahulunya adalah negara komunis, tentu ada juga cara pendekatan komunis dalam education, dan ada juga pendekatan mengenai pendidikan yang berasal dari era sesudah komunisme.
During the communist regime, I know the communist regime, it's in its way of operating to spread their ideology, to control the education, but through this time, the illiteracy was eradicated in Albania, and schools, you could find them all over, even in the most remote countries.
Jadi di masa komunisme, karena pemerintah perlu atau penguasa perlu menyebarkan ideologi komunisme, ada banyak sekali sekolah, lalu tidak ada buta huruf di masa pemerintahan komunisme.
And then we faced in 1990 the fall of the regime that started from the revolting of students, which brought all the state institutions down.
Lalu di tahun 1990 rejim komunis jatuh karena adanya pemberontakan oleh mahasiswa atau pelajar.
So nowadays we are 2022, and somehow it's since the fall of the regime that we are still considered a country in transition.
Jadi meskipun sekarang tahun 2022, Albania masih berada di masa transisi dari kejatuhan komunisme dengan masa sekarang.
Well, we all know what that etiquette means. It means that still the state is not stable, the law is not totally stable, the institutions are, so if you say transition is still on the making.
Karena ini adalah masa transisi, tentunya kita tahu bahwa hukum masih belum pasti, jadi banyak sekali hal-hal yang masih harus berubah dari masa komunisme dengan masa yang sekarang.
And this framework did change also the attitude of people toward education. First, there were problematics of not having the same support by the state. The schools that used to be even in the remote village, they were not anymore.
Ini juga merubah cara orang berpikir mengenai pendidikan, apalagi di masa sekarang ketika tidak ada lagi rejim komunisme, tidak terlalu banyak dukungan dari government atau pemerintah terkait dengan pendidikan di Albania.
So it's what before people that got a university degree or even not a university degree were seen worshipped somehow. Now people with university degrees were having problems even finding a job.
Bahkan di masa sekarang mereka yang lulus dari universitas pun punya kesulitan mencari pekerjaan.
With elements that you state, you have it in the PowerPoint, and I don't want to read them. The education. The attitude of people toward education, and for sure, especially of women toward education, did shift it and changed.
Jadi jika kita lihat di dalam PowerPoint presentasi ini, kita melihat bahwa ada perubahan cara melihat pendidikan dan juga cara melihat gender di Albania.
If we understand being a woman in this country that is going through this transition, where the elements of patriarchy are very noticeable, and with the fall of the regime, in my opinion, they become even more worse.
Jadi dengan kejatuhan komunisme, ternyata keadaan perempuan di Albania jauh lebih buruk, di mana elemen of patriarchy itu bertambah kuat ya, karena keadaan yang baru ini, karena negara di dalam masa transisi. Jadi keadaan
it seemed that
jauh lebih buruk.
Okay. It seems that the same as for the education during the communist regime, and here I state again, because the communist regime needed the workforce, you saw women everywhere. In every sector there were women, be it called male sector or female sector, they were everywhere. And somehow that, I'm telling, maybe the intention was not to promote gender equality, but somehow, in my opinion, during that time, women were all over, and that did show to everyone that women can do everything.
Oke, di masa komunis, di masa pemerintahan komunisme, kita bisa melihat perempuan ya di Albania, mereka ada di berbagai sektor pekerjaan karena memang rejim komunis membutuhkan tenaga kerja, meskipun tentunya ide awalnya adalah bukanlah mempromot atau mempromosikan kesetaraan gender, tetapi karena memang ada kebutuhan akan tenaga kerja dan perempuan dimanfaatkan atau dipergunakan.
So with that new era started after the regime, same as the shifting of attitude of people towards education, it seemed like old mentality and elements of patriarchal society came into force again by affecting and impacting very much the position of women and girls.
So, karena adanya perubahan attitude atau cara pandang terhadap perempuan, lalu mentalitas masa dahulu yang kembali ada di negara Albania yang sedang dalam transisi ini, jadi kita melihat bahwa justru sekarang posisi itu jauh lebih buruk atau kembali kepada bukan, it's not anymore a progress, bukan lagi progress tetapi malah kemunduran.
In both my research in my master thesis and also in my doctoral thesis, gender was my focus. I found from the research, from the empirical research, I found that one of the most elements that is stopping women and is making their achievements harder to get is especially the patriarchal society, all that it comes with that name.
Oke. Jadi yang berdasarkan penelitian saya melihat bahwa sistem patriarki lah yang memberi batasan terhadap perempuan untuk menjadi jauh lebih maju. Jadi patriarki kembali berkuasa di dalam kehidupan masyarakat di Albania.
I'm very curious to know what's the situation in your country. Is it same as here with the division, the clear division of households, women, career for men, politics for men? Women should stay inside their family and their interests should refrain that. Here it's very much the case. So I'm really curious to know if it is for sure it is a global thing, but how hard it is in there.
Saya ingin tahu bagaimana keadaan di Indonesia. Apakah memang pembagian antara laki-laki dan perempuan itu sangat jelas sekarang, di mana laki-laki yang bekerja lalu perempuan ada di rumah, politik hanya untuk laki-laki tidak untuk perempuan. Apakah meskipun ini adalah masalah global, apakah itu juga terjadi di Indonesia? Mungkin Ibu dan Bapak bisa berbagi cerita.
If you come in my country, especially in the main city in Tirana, you will feel yourself in the center of Europe, and you say, "Oh, they are very progressed country." But you have to go deep, and if you go deep, you find all of those that I'm telling till now.
Jadi kalau kita ke kota di Albania, terlihat seolah-olah sudah ada kemajuan terkait dengan masalah gender. Akan tetapi kalau kita pergi lebih jauh ke daerah-daerah yang lebih dalam di Albania, kita akan melihat bahwa situasi di sana terkait dengan gender itu mengalami kemunduran.
So the elements that I've been stating before, the pandemics, the economical situation that Albania is in, the poverty rates, the unemployment, are all elements that contribute also to making stronger the effects of patriarchal elements.
Oke, jadi keadaan yang diciptakan oleh pandemi, kemiskinan, ke masalah ekonomi itu menjadi bagian yang memberi dampak buruk terhadap perempuan di Albania.
Okay, I don't want to go longer. I did just skip slides. I want to conclude that when it comes to gender issues, and especially gender and education, both there is a need for more studies, for sure, especially in this new environment that we are living.
Jadi sebagai kesimpulan, saya menganggap bahwa masih banyak perlu dilakukan penelitian terkait masalah gender dan pendidikan di dalam situasi yang baru sekali.
And it is very important for us as researchers not for sure not ignore the global issues that are everywhere the same, but not to ignore also the specification of every societies, because they are very, very important.
So, yang penting diingat bahwa kita harus memperhatikan isu-isu global yang terkait dengan gender dan education, akan tetapi juga kita harus mempertimbangkan apa yang terjadi di dalam masyarakat-masyarakat secara khusus atau secara lokal.
I am concluding this open lesson by thanking you very much for listening to me till now.
Terima kasih sudah mendengarkan saya.
And we're here for discussions.
Jadi mari kita berdiskusi.
Thank you very much.
Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Zenai. It's very clear, I think, what sort of gender problem in education as well. But before we go to discussion session, I will ask you a very short question. You mentioned in your lecture that there is the changings of gender construction.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, as I told, not just as I told, it is traditionally, especially us as social researchers, know that you go by female and male as a social construct, and by that we know what comes with being a male and with being a female. Nowadays, it seems like there are new trends, meaning people don't want to be identified anymore as male and female, and all that comes with that identification. For instance, if I see Manotar and I'm meeting him for the first time, you might be offended if I tell he is, because telling he or she means that what comes with he or she in duties, what is allowed, what is not allowed, what is expected from people when they label you he or she. People are saying this is offensive. I don't want anyone to label me anymore like that. I might be he, she, both. I might be, I don't know if you have heard, nowadays they are using this term them to refer to people. It's just something that is happening in the gender field that we should really consider, because it's not something small. It is a shift. It is something new. Maybe I have seen a lot of researchers stating it as like we didn't have enough issues beside in gender, why we should complicate things. But there are people standing in front of us that are acting offending, that don't want us to approach like that anymore. So that's what I mean. It's something for me that me myself as a researcher, I want to keep my toe and in point to see what's happening in there and how it's gonna go, this thing. And is really the binary system, gender system that is traditional, he, she, male, female, disrupted? this new trend is going to become strong and it's going to become the new gender system?
All right, we got your point. As a sociologist,
Yes,
basically you have a specialization in gender and education system. So what's your opinion about the changing of gender roles in today's society?
As a sociologist or as a person? Well,
no, I'm asking your opinion on that.
Well, changing of the roles. Well, I think that I don't see problems in changing on the roles. I just think there should be an equilibrium. I don't see any problem of women doing more what were considered men domain and men doing more what is considered a woman domains. I see nothing wrong in it. In my opinion, as a sociologist and as a person myself, I don't think that they're going to bring something wrong. The thing is, the problem is in accepting them, acknowledging them, and for sure to have an equilibrium in all these chains. Is it clear, or do you want me to elaborate more on it?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, let me interpret. Okay, so tadi dari dua pertanyaan Pak Moderator, Ibu Jenas bercerita mengenai konstruksi sosial berserta identitas, bahwa sekarang tidak lagi laki-laki dan perempuan. Boleh di mute dulu. Jadi tidak lagi tentang laki-laki dan perempuan, sistem binari sudah dipertanyakan. Lalu berikutnya orang tidak lagi, kebanyakan sekarang yang mungkin di Indonesia belum, tetapi dia tidak mau disebut laki-laki atau perempuan. Ini terasa di bahasa Inggris tidak lagi he or she, akan tetapi them. Ya. Jadi mengidentifikasi seseorang sebagai laki-laki atau perempuan itu shifting sudah berubah. Jadi tidak lagi terlalu penting apakah dia laki-laki atau perempuan. Kemudian Pak Manotar bertanya mengenai perubahan di dalam peran gender. Apakah menurut Ibu Jana tidak masalah kalau laki-laki di rumah mungkin ya secara ekstrimnya, lalu perempuan menjadi orang paling utama di dalam mencari nafkah, kurang lebih begitu. Ibu Jenas berbicara sebagai seorang ahli sosiologi dan juga seorang person ya, bukan lagi ya agak sulit mengatakan karena kita di bahasa Indonesia in bahasa Indonesia in our language we don't have a he or she, mom. So we cannot really relate to the pronoun identification. So it's all dia, whether it is a he or a she. So that's some background on that. Thank you.
You are blessed. You are blessed.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have Q&A session in about 20 minutes. I think is enough. Any one of you to ask a question? Hello, audience. Participants.
There is Mr. Fernando Silla.
Okay, we have gender problem in Indonesia is only based on certain religions. For example, if a husband to divorce menalak. What is menalak? Menalak. To divorce. Yeah. Yeah, divorce. In Islam, is it final? Is it final?
So, Ma'am Jenas, so one religion in our country, bisa di mute dulu, is Islam or Islam. So in Islam, a man can divorce his wife by just sentencing her. So he can rightly divorce the woman just like that. No need to go to the court for that. So in the Pak Kaman, Mr. Kaman Nainggolan, he stated that the maybe gender problem is only a matter of problem for certain religion in Indonesia. And in Indonesia, gender equality is I think Pak Kaman says that we have now here in Indonesia, gender equality because employment, the fee or the rate of what do you call gaji? Salary is the same, whether it's a woman or a man. So in the Pak Kaman thinks that we are okay here. We are all right in Indonesia.
Thank you, Ibu Susan. The next question from Bapak Fernando Silalahi. Fernando.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Manotar Tampu-Bolon. I want to ask to Dr. Ecclesia. I'm Fernando Silalahi. I'm lecturer in the Master of Law program at the Christian University of Indonesia. Previously, Dr. Ecclesia explained how the economic situation was affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, especially for women. What does the pandemic have to do with violence against women? Does the Albanian state have no protection institution for women? Is violence against women there is no include in crime? And I have two questions for you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the questions. Well, I think that economic issues, related or not to the pandemic, I think that they are issues that are going to bring a lot of, for sure, effects in different areas. And me, as a sociologist myself, I think that gender issues are directly touched when it came to economical issues. Albania has plenty of institutions and that are promoting gender equality, and they're doing a lot of progress in it. But as I stated before, even the countries that were very progressed were those data that you did see didn't come from Albania. Gender violence, no one can deny it, that is increased immensely during the pandemic, not just only in Albania, but everywhere. The rate of unemployment was way higher between women than men during the pandemic, not just in Albania. As I see the issues related to the pandemic, and if you relate it to gender and education also, they are not just the issues of a country. In this case of Albania, they are issues of every other country. And I'm sure also Indonesia did not escape without having these touch. Okay, the severity of it is different from a country to another, but yes, there were cases of violence in here. There were also women that, because of violence, died. There were issues of discrimination for sure, but not just specifically because it is Albania, but because it is a global situation, and this happened in other countries too. Same, it's the effect of these elements, even in the most countries that have a most developed social protection against women in special and people in general. If I responded correctly to the question of.
There is another question. Dr. Jenai,
what's
your opinion on polygamy or polyandry issues and the relation of both their children?
Mr. Manotar.
Thank you.
Question for me.
Yes.
Pak Manotar.
Olia, please.
Okay. Thank you. For Mr. Cenat, Dr. Cenat. Yes, my name is Wiwi from Master of Law, Universitas Kerja. Simple question. Yes. Can a woman be president in Albania?
It's cutting and I can't hear well the professor.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Simple question.
Which is the question?
Can a woman be president?
Can a woman be
Albania?
president in Albania?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Yes. Well, I want to state here that especially in this last decade, there have been a lot of politics that were embraced, raising the participation of women in politics. And if you see the Albanian parliament and our government, there are more women than men. I tell it's a patriarchal system. But it doesn't mean that women are not progressing in politics. Yes, a woman can become a president, but what it's going to be told about her, it's different. It's a different thing. But yes, it can, and I'm sure it's going to happen very soon.
Jadi di Albania perempuan bisa menjadi presiden dan bahkan di dalam parlemennya itu lebih banyak perempuan daripada laki-laki. Tapi itu tidak berarti bahwa tidak ada masalah terkait dengan kesetaraan gender. Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. The third question, Dr. Jenai, what's your opinion on polygamy or polyandry issues on their children? Thank you.
Well, these are mostly sociological issues that, at least in my country, consider them as obsolete, actually. I don't know if is that an issue in Indonesia, because here even by law there is just monogamy, legal mostly. So related to this question, is that a thing that is touched in Indonesia, because that is mostly historical for my country at least.
Di Albania tidak ada poligami, jadi itu sama sekali tidak ada masalah. Yes, Ma'am Jenas, we have that here in Indonesia. So a man can have 4 wives according to Islam, legally and really supported by the religion. Thank you.
We know in Albania, just one man, one woman. Well, traditionally before, a man was allowed to have more than a woman, especially when they didn't have male heirs. Just then it was somehow allowed to, but legally, no, it's a monogamous state, and the law forces that. It's stated. We don't have.
Jadi ini melanggar hukum ya Ibu Bapak kalau di Albania punya istri lebih dari 1. Secara hukum tidak boleh. Terima kasih. Silakan Pak Moderator.
Iya Bu, makasih Bu Susana. Next, Aulia Amini, your question and where are you from?
Her hand was for a long time there.
Thank you, Mr. Manotar, and thank you for Dr. Jenai for your lecture today. I really enjoy because we are women. One of the subject about gender is mostly women. Okay, before I go to my question, we understand that the mostly gender issue is about women, girls, and the negative impact they have about the gender situation. So sometimes but my question is, what women can do if the problems about gender we have to face the women is not only about the education.
What women can do if the issues are not about education?
Not only about education. We have to face the culture, the religion, the rules. One of them is about in Muslim women, men can marry more than one woman. Is
I
one
understand
of
your
the problem.
I
Okay,
understand your question.
I
Well,
want okay. I
even as a
I
woman,
want to
I
know
understand
what
you
we
mean.
have to do.
Well, this,
Thank you.
this lecture was just focused on gender and education, but this doesn't
Okay.
mean that women are not challenged in every field, culturally, religiously, and politically. There are a lot of challenges for women.
Because-
what women can do is stand their way and try
Yeah.
to go head on and pursue what they want for themselves. And they are
Because
doing it.
sometimes, yeah, I'm sorry, forgive me. Because sometimes it's not about the lack of education. Sometimes women with the higher education have faced the same problems too about the gender issues. That's my main question. Thank you.
Again, what was your main question?
The main issue about gender is sometimes women with the higher education face the same problem about the gender issue, and what women can do if the education is not only the reason.
Well, education is sadly,
Yeah.
education is not a shield of protection. It's
Oh,
not a
yeah.
shield of protection, because if it was a shield of protection, we found the cure. Let's get all educated and problems are gone. But I think that it is some kind of awareness, some kind of strength for women. Not that we are educated, we're done. Me as an educated woman, I am educated, so I have no problems in gender issues and stuff. No, that is not, it would be very easy. It would be very easy if it was like that. But I agree as a sociologist that education empowers women. That's no one can do, I think.
Right. I agree with that. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Jadi,
Thank you, Mr. Manuka.
Menurut Ibu Jenas, education atau pendidikan bukanlah semacam cure ya untuk mengatasi masalah terhadap perempuan, tetapi yang diperlukan adalah kesadaran bahwa ada masalah-masalah gender yang harus kita kita perhatikan, dan kita mungkin juga berjuang dengan pelan-pelan ya Ibu Aulia, meskipun kita semua adalah perempuan sudah berpendidikan, tetapi karena masyarakat secara mayoritas belum sadar akan adanya kesetaraan gender, itu menjadi tugas kita bersama. Dan education, pendidikan akan memberi kekuatan kepada para perempuan untuk memperbaiki situasi yang ada di masyarakat dan tentunya juga menghapus patriarki di dalam sistem masyarakat yang ada di Indonesia. Terima kasih Pak Manuta.
Okay. There are some question in the chat box, but we firstly go to Ruth Laurencia.
Okay, hi. Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Dr. Jenai. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't want to ask I just want to share about what happened in my country, in Indonesia. As you know that you have a big issue about the gender, especially in the whole aspects, not only in education but also politics and economics. But I just want to relate today's topic with an educational system in our country. That's actually I feel blessed and grateful to be part of Indonesia society, citizenship, that we don't really feel that big issue in gender actually in education. I'm a kindergarten teacher, so during the past 2 years back during the pandemic, yes, we are as a woman, we are a wife, we are also a working mother, and I'm a teacher at the same time. We face a very stressful time that time, but we gradually recover from the pandemic situation. We gradually recover our system, and we're getting better and better right now. So my point is here, why I feel grateful and blessed, because as a kindergarten teacher in Indonesia, ma'am, mostly they only demand for a female teacher. Yes, they don't really no, they I doesn't mean they don't accept a male teacher, but they prefer to have a female teacher as a kindergarten teacher. So for my side, it's a benefit, it's a big benefit, huge benefits for us. So the past 2 years, we don't really feel the impact of a pandemic, especially the gender issue. So I don't know, this is from my side, from my country, from my school. And yeah, maybe the others also can add that well, I quite surprised about the big issue, gender issue in your country, but from our country, that yeah, we're I just want to say that we're grateful and blessed that the gender issue actually is not really that big. Actually, not really impact in our educational system. That's all. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Welcome. Well, as I told from the beginning, I'm really interested to know a lot about your country, culture, and politics, and because everything and the economical system, they are all interlinked to understand the situation. And as I told to you, in my country, we are as much modern as we are not that modern. It's not that it's not an issue that is not being resolved, gender issues, but they are still in there. As I tell, I am a woman from the same country. I am a professor at the university. I did follow my education. I am pursuing my career. There are plenty of women like me, and somehow in nowadays I'm starting to think like I should shift my interest of researching on what men are doing, because we see universities in my country filled with women, and it's a trend that is going on for some time now. And I think that's in a very short future, at least in my country, I will have to research what is going on with men in education than with women in education. But I don't think that there is a society, in my opinion, I don't think that there is a society where women are living in heaven and they are free of burdens and they are okay and they don't feel the gender inequalities and discrimination. Me, myself, I don't think that there is one, even they are very progressed. That's just a matter of opinions of everyone. That's just my opinion. Thank you, Ruth.
Jadi menurut Ibu Jenas, tidak ada masyarakat yang tidak mengalami masalah dengan kesetaraan gender, baik dari sisi laki-laki maupun perempuan. Di Albania sekarang di universitasnya itu penuh dengan perempuan. Meskipun tadi ya sudah diceritakan ada banyak masalah, bahkan mungkin menurut secara bercanda Ibu Jenas bilang mungkin beberapa tahun ke depan judul topiknya adalah Men and Education, jadi pendidikan dan laki-laki, karena mungkin laki-laki akan punya problem di masa yang tidak terlalu lama ya, karena adanya kesetaraan gender demikian. Dan memang mungkin sebagai kita diingatkan dari awal, Ibu Jenas mengatakan mari kita lebih banyak melakukan penelitian mengenai apa yang terjadi di negara dan masyarakat kita masing-masing terkait masalah pendidikan dan gender dan pandemi terutamanya. Itu mungkin belum terlalu banyak. Ya, saya tidak tahu Pak Manotar mungkin atau Ibu Mesta bisa sumbang saran di situ, apakah sudah ada penelitian mengenai pandemi perempuan atau gender, laki-laki dan pendidikan. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Ibu Susan. Next question is from Guru Tampobolon, my brother. As a sociologist, what is your opinion, Dr. Jena, not as an Albanian? About the polygamy, about the discrimination based on gender, or what?
Well, if it is related to polygamy and polyandry, sociologists don't have opinions. They have facts and they have studies. So I might have opinions as a person, but as a sociologist, I have theories on polygamy and polyandry. And as related to my country, I told it is something that we don't face it recently. So maybe as a person, I can't totally relate to the thing that it seems is going on in Indonesia.
Demikian, jadi tidak ada pendapat secara sebagai personal ya. Sementara sebagai sosiologis, beliau hanya punya fakta dan teori, dan secara fakta memang di Albania tidak ada poligami dan poliandri. Demikian.
Okay, next question comes from Bosnia Herzegovina. The question is, when a family has an agreement where all members of family agrees to some followings, like husband should earn money as much as possible to fulfill the needs, wife should take care of the children and cook, etc., etc. Is it called a gender issues, Jenna?
Well, I did say at the beginning that it should be an equilibrium. As long as inside the family, the couple divides themselves what they're gonna do, because they are a couple, they have a family, and themselves they sit and divide their roles. It should not be a gender issue. But if the fact that it is assigned to the man to earn the money and the woman to stay at home, if it has traces of gender in that, is a different thing. But I don't see any gender issues if the families itself, in agreement and in equilibrium, divide their roles inside the family. In this case, that the person that shared this question, it made it look like it is a gender issue somehow, because it stated that the man should earn the money. I'm going to tell that, oh, what if it is if the family decides vice versa? The woman should go and earn the money and the man should stay home and cook and care of the children. So is it going to be a gender issue then? It's a matter of interpretation somehow.
Jadi ini masalah tafsir ya. Jadi yang dimaksudkan akan menjadi gender issue kalau contohnya di tanda kutip dipaksa, karena sesuai kodratnya perempuan tidak boleh bekerja dan tinggal di rumah. Itu adalah isu gender. Akan tetapi bila di dalam keluarga itu sudah ada kesepakatan bahwa suami tinggal di rumah lalu istrinya mencari pendapatan sendiri, itu tidak menjadi masalah. Jadi yang menjadi masalah adalah kalau dia dipaksa, karena konstruksi sosial yang tadi sudah dibicarakan di depan, bahwa kepala keluarga adalah laki-laki, perempuan adalah atau istri adalah di rumah dan mengurus anak. Itu menjadi isu gender kalau dia dipaksa. Tapi kalau itu sudah menjadi kesepakatan, tidak ada masalah di situ. Jadi hanya masalah tafsir dan bahwa tidak ada satu gender yang dipaksa, baik laki-laki maupun perempuan, untuk mengikuti peran-peran yang ada dan ditetapkan oleh patriarki. Jadi itu yang menjadi pendapat Ibu Jenas. Dan di dalam studi gender kurang lebih begitu. Terima kasih.
Thanks, Susan.
And to make it a bit fun to this question, my fiance is cooking right now and I'm lecturing. Is it a gender issue right now? Just to make it for fun.
Iya, oke. Jadi tunangannya lagi masak dan dia lagi kasih kuliah. Jadi apakah itu gender issue? Tentu tidak, karena sudah menjadi kesepakatan. Yang laki-laki masak, yang perempuan kerja, kurang lebih begitu.
Thank you. Next question. Hello, Dr. Jenai. How do you think is this influences of other genders beside men and women appears in education system in Albania, or even there in other country, which is happening now? Dr. Jenna.
If they are relating to the new trends of gender identities, it's a recent development. I guess I found it, mention it since 2019, mention it this broadly. So I don't think it did affect it yet, in my opinion, did affect it yet educational system. In Albania, not yet. I still am approaching to my students as he or she most of the time. But as I stated in my lecture, it is something to keep an eye in, because it seems when things start, they don't stop. So we should keep as researchers an eye of what is going on and what this thing is going to bring effect on something that it is a traditional system. I'm not telling that the binary system is something good or something bad, but it seems something is trying to disrupt that and to bring a new thing, a new phenomenon, as it happened in society with a lot of other issues. So it's a thing to keep in mind.
Jadi ini belum terlihat menjadi masalah di dalam pendidikan, akan tetapi kita harus mulai waspada dan siap menghadapinya ketika isu itu menjadi kenyataan. But Dr. Mam Janas, I think it has arrived here in Indonesia because there was a case. Jadi in one university, the student refused to answer whether the person is he or a she. Jadi kalau kita ingat kasus yang baru di perguruan tinggi, satu murid mahasiswa dimarahi karena tidak bisa dan tidak mau menjawab dia laki-laki atau perempuan. It is an issue. It's growing to be an issue. So let's just see, and we will report to you if that comes to Indonesia. Thank you.
It's interesting, ya, Ibu Susan. Next question is how to understand the differences of providing women's right and growing rights to gender equality. Dr. Jena.
That is a great question, especially for Mr. Tampu Bolon that comes from the field of law. Well, sometimes when you use the word providing, it feels like there is a discrimination in the word itself, because gender, women and men are entitled for same rights. So providing woman, who is providing them with those rights, and growing rights, who is women are fighting for their rights and making them growing. So I have question over questions related to that question. I have question marks myself.
Jadi ada pertanyaan terhadap pertanyaan yang tadi diajukan, karena kata providing, menyediakan, itu kan memang mengandung ide bahwa sesuatu atau seseorang, satu konsep memberikan. Jadi itu agak problematik ya di dalam isu gender. Karena setiap baik laki maupun perempuan mau sama-sama mempunyai hak. Itu yang terjadi, itu yang menjadi prinsip di dalam gender equality, kurang lebih begitu. Jadi Ibu tidak bisa menjawab karena masih punya pertanyaan terhadap pertanyaan. Istilah providing dengan growing itu istilah yang masih debatable ya dalam masalah gender. Terima kasih.
Next question from Kaman Nenggolan. In SDGs, goals number 5 is gender equality. So every country must implement these goals. Because in 2030, United Nations will judge whether all countries have implemented 17 goals that have been stated in SDGs. So all countries must agree on 17 goals. Is that a question or statement?
To me, it looks like a statement related to the Sustainable Development Goals, and both Indonesia and Albania are part of, and are, as I know, are implementing and incorporating these goals in their politics all over. It looks like a statement, more information about the Agenda 2030. I see a hand raised in the screen for.
All right, Pak Fernando, you have further question?
I want to ask again one question, yeah. Sorry, previous Mr. Manotar mentioned the issue of polygamy. Are there any plans, Mr. Manotar?
It's a question for you.
To own polygamy, Mr. Manotar.
Is it your question to me or to Mr. Jena, Dr. Jena?
Sorry. I want to ask to Mr. Jena. Albania is.
I think you have to forward your question to Dr. Jena, not to me.
Yeah, Albania is
because
majority.
I'm not polygamy at the moment.
No.
Dr. Jena, Fernando is asking about polygamy.
No. I want to ask one question to Mr. Jena. Albania is a majority Muslim country, yeah? Why prohibit polygamy? Because I read in news online, yeah, the majority of Muslim in Albania belong to the Sunni and Bertasi school of thought, a legacy of Ottoman rule after the collapse of the communist regime in Albania. Albania national identity was built as religious state and based on nationality and unity. So why Albania, majority Muslim country, why prohibit polygamy?
It's true that in Albania, most of the population belongs to the Muslim religion. But in Albania, the constitution from the first amendments, it states that we are a laic country and the religion and the state are divided. So the communities themselves are allowed to practice their religion, but the law is above every religion, because we don't have only Muslims, we have other religions too. So that's why maybe we have this monogamy, as I'm seeing that you are relating polygamy very much with the religion. But here in my country, we are mostly Muslims by religion, and we have the law by the state law that stands above and guarantees somehow, it's a guarantee for the the religious tolerance, and allows people to freely practice what they believe in. If I did correctly answer your concern and question.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Eklesia.
You're welcome. Any other question to address?
Another question, please. Chat, no, it's not questions. Okay, before we conclude this public lecture, I have a question. This is a very quick question to Dr. Jena. Dr. Jena, how important is education to decrease or to eliminate gender discrimination in your country? How important is it?
Yeah, as I told before, there was a discussion in one of before that, as I told, education is not a shield, but is very empowering. No one can discuss the importance of education to not just women, to all people, but especially to women, because it's gonna give opportunity to them to get better jobs, to get better understanding of life, to fight more about their rights, to be more acknowledged about what is going on. So it is in my country, I can say that for education, we have very high rates of education, especially among women. So I think that it is very important, not I think, but it's unarguable that education is very important. And it is one of the elements that should be used for empowerment, not just for women, because through that education system, even men go. My opinion in this is that not asking that question, how important is the education for that, but is the concern is how the education should be implemented, that both genders benefit and the inequalities do not perpetuate through the education system. Because what is happening, the education system itself is generating differences between women and men, girls and boys. So I think that beside asking what is the importance of the education, it is more important to ask how we can make the education system less discriminable or more gender equality and such as.
Jadi pertanyaannya bukan mengenai apakah education akan mempengaruhi masalah gender, tetapi bagaimana sistem pendidikan yang ada sekarang bisa diperbaiki sehingga tidak timbul lagi masalah-masalah terkait dengan kesetaraan gender. Karena sistem pendidikan yang ada sekarang itu masih tanda kutip memberi pupuk terhadap perbedaan antara laki-laki atau dan perempuan. Kurang lebih begitu ya Pak Manotar dan Ibu Bapak sekalian. Terima kasih.
Okay, now we come to the conclusion. MC, moderator. Moderator gives to you. MC, Catherine.
Hello, yes, Mr. Manotar. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ankerej Dashina, for your informative speech and the knowledge for postgraduate program Universitas Kristen Indonesia. Ladies and gentlemen, let's next to our agenda is the present token of appreciation for our speaker, Dr. Ankerej Dashina. I would like to invite Professor Bernadetta Nadeak to give the present token of appreciation. Prof. Bernadetta, the time is yours. Okay.
Masih di mute, Prof.
I think there is internet trouble from Professor Bernadetta Nadeak. Okay, for the e-certificate is already given for our speaker and our interpreter and our moderator to this event. Okay. Please give applause for our speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, finally we come to the end of this event. But before that, let's do the photo session. For the Zoom participants, please open your camera. Okay. Okay, there are 5 slides. I will count to the 1, 2, 3. Please keep the best smile of yours. Slide 2. 1, 2, 3. Slide 3. Please open your camera. 1, 2, 3. Slide 4. Please open your camera. 1, 2, 3. The last slide, please open your camera. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you for Zoom participants. After this photo session, we will end this session. And for closing the prayer, I would like to invite Egi Aritonang to the closing prayer.
Okay,
Mrs.
thank you.
Egi,
Yes.
time is yours.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Let's pray together. Dear God, we thank you for your all wisdom and knowledge you have given today. Thank you for the gift of life for the public lecture. That's the end. And we leave this place. We pray your device protection and guidance be with us. And we live here until we meet in event between University Kristen Indonesia and University Alexander Mois Dures Albania. And in the name of the Lord Jesus, Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma'am Janai.
Distinguished guests and the Zoom meeting participants, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining and supporting this public lecture. See you in the next agenda, which shortly means please forgive us. I am Captain Monica as Master of Ceremony today's sign out. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
Dr. Jena. See you again. See you all.
Thank
Thank you.
Dr. Jena,
God
thank
bless
you.
You yang mau
Thank you,
sponsor,
Mr.
yang bikin,
Jenas.
Thank you,
bikin
Prof.
kita heboh dan
You
yang
for
bikin
all.
heboh.
Dr.
Ada yang
Jenas, see you then. Thank you so much for your valuable knowledge you shared to our students.